bat, like many animals, lives in a different sound world to ours. Through its ears, all but the highest sounds simply disappear. A bat may not hear our low-frequency sound, but it can eavesdrop on ultrasonic frequencies far above our hearing range. To listen to this ultrasound, we must slow our world down. In the bat sound world, low frequencies disappear. But the high frequencies of ultrasound are revealed. To the bat, some of our quietest actions create a cacophony of high frequencies. Even familiar animals can enter a sound world unfamiliar to us. The trumpeting of elephants is the highest sound they make. This is the lowest. These calls are normally too low for us to hear. Only by raising the pitch can we hear their communication rumbles. A lone male calls to distant females. This sound is below our hearing. Known as infrasound, it can reach herds many kilometers away. They respond with a call to leave. Their calls draw them together. Those left behind rumble in alarm. As they meet, they greet each other with a chorus of infrasound. The sounds elephants hear are only just below the human range. But some birds, like guinea fowl, can hear infrasound at even lower frequencies. Their breeding anticipates the lush rainy season and may be prompted by the infrasonic murmur of distant storms. The call of the capercaillie also contains infrasound. Both females and other rival males react to these territorial calls. Low frequencies travel further than high frequencies, so the infrasound component can reach distant rivals. The males fight for possession of the display ground. the air, all sound carries over greater distances, giving birds even more information than is available on the ground. Those birds that can hear infrasound can tune into frequencies that carry further still. Winds on mountain ranges generate infrasound which can carry for tens of kilometers. Birds may use these auditory guides to navigate long before the source of the sound becomes visible. There are many natural sources of infrasound which may give the bird information from different compass points. From the changing pattern of sound, a navigating bird may keep track of its route. The waterfall produces a whole range of frequencies. As it recedes, the higher frequencies disappear. The infrasound that remains will carry for many kilometers. The infrasound of deserts, cities and oceans could all be used as a distant guide. Even the sounds of storms could warn of impending danger. Infrasound may carry through the air for many kilometers, but beneath the ocean surface there are creatures that create sounds that travel even further. The blue whale is the largest animal ever to have lived. It creates sounds that only just enter our hearing range. In water, sound travels 4 times more efficiently, so these low frequencies carry even further than they would in air. They're helped by a unique feature of the deep ocean. Sound channels created through variations of temperature and pressure allow the sound that enters them to pass without being scattered or absorbed. The calls travel for hundreds of kilometers and reach many other whales. The sound may help to keep the scattered herds together. At one time, the calls would have traveled across whole oceans, but noise pollution from modern shipping now limits their range. The sounds of the humpback not only change from year to year, they even show regional dialects. The social groups are led by a female and her calf. Her escorts compete vociferously for a position by her side. The humpback creates the longest and most complex range of sounds of any animal. But they're not the only creatures to sing in the oceans. These are the songs of fish. Fish like the barracuda are better adapted to hearing these sounds than we are. They can only hear low frequencies. Even so, they have a complex vocabulary of calls. The sergeant major fish protects its purple cluster of eggs with an aggressive popping sound. When threatened by the approach of a predator, the squirrelfish react with sounds of alarm. fish with courtship calls. The toadfish. The cowfish. Others have a whole repertoire of sounds. A male bicolored damselfish attempts to entice a female to his nest in the rocks. As she loses interest, so his calls and movements change. To a predator, the most significant sounds are those made by the movements of shoaling fish. From one of the noisiest places on Earth to one of the quietest, the desert at night. The fennec has the largest ears of any fox. The veins inside bring the blood supply to the surface and help cool the fox during the day. Because of the heat, most desert animals are active only at night. The fox's huge ears are now used to gather sound. They respond to the slightest rustle. These large ears are not the only aid to hearing. The internal ear has an enlarged chamber to help amplify sound. The North American kangaroo rat has similar specialized hearing. It too has an enlarged chamber to its internal ear to enhance its sensitivity. The smallness of the external ear is no real handicap. It is acutely aware of the sounds of predators. Although alerted by the rustle of scales, the kangaroo rat is in no hurry to escape, for its hearing can outwit the rattlesnake. Even in total darkness it can hear and instantaneously react to the sound of the final strike. The hearing of frogs is tuned to the call of the males. That of the coqui is unique. Each sex hears differently. To a female, the world must sound like this. She hears only part of the male's call. Males hear the other part. Males hear only the territorial sound, females the sound of courtship. The sound of courtship has also shaped the hearing of these insects. But before they hear anything at all, the pupae must break through the surface and transform. These feathery antennae are the ears of the male mosquito. The male lives only to mate, so its antennae attune to the sound of the female. Once dry and mature, he begins his search. Through his antennae, the world may sound like this. The buzz from the female's wings coincides exactly with the male's restricted hearing. The female attracts many males, all enticed by the sound of her wings. Because of their smaller size, the male's wings beat twice as fast. Their higher pitch avoids confusion in this aerial courtship. The Kyra spider listens for wing beats too, but it also reacts to other sounds at the same frequency.
I've seen them before.
Instead of using a web, it mimics the smell of the female moth to lure the male towards it. As the male hovers in search of the phantom female, the spider tracks the sound of every movement. In darkness, many animals use sound to find their prey. The barn owl's facial ruffs of tightly packed feathers funnel sound into its ears. One ear is lower than the other and angled differently. This helps the owl to pinpoint the slightest noise. It can locate the position of a sound better than any other creature. Its brain creates a sound map of the area in front of it. The owl uses this to memorize the position of the last sound it heard. Sound is the only guide as it orientates its claws. A cat can detect ultrasound above our hearing range. At these frequencies, some of the quietest animals appear surprisingly noisy. The peacock butterfly uses ultrasonic clicks to startle predators. The bush cricket uses ultrasound for courtship. The female responds to the call of the male. Her return call is almost instantaneous. They hear this high-speed conversation through ears on their legs. As the male moves towards her, the calls continue. There is just a 30th of a second between the call and the reply. This makes the bush cricket the fastest communicator of any animal. Beehives are sometimes filled with the sounds of another ultrasonic courtship. These wax moths breed in abandoned hives. As they attempt to attract the female, the wing-fanning males create an ultrasonic cacophony at the limits of even the cat's hearing. As a rule, the smaller the animal, the higher it can hear. The high-pitched squeak of a rat is actually the lowest sound it makes. Most of its calls are ultrasonic to match its hearing range. When touched by an adult, young rats use ultrasonic calls to prevent accidental attack. At this age, the young easily lose heat if they stray from the nest, so they use ultrasonic cries to attract the mother. The rat uses sound in another remarkable way, one that relies on echoes. Using echoes, even humans can gain an impression of the size of a chamber. In a similar way, a rat uses echoes to help judge distance. Before it jumps, it makes this audible sniffing sound. From the returning echoes, it gains an impression of the size of the gap. The rat's echolocation is crude, but a few animals have found ways of improving the technique. The caves of Kenya are home to some of the largest roosts of Rosetta's fruit bats. Although their eyesight is good, in the blackness of the cave, they rely on echoes to find their way around. As they fly into darkness, they begin to click their tongues, a sound we can hear. From the echoes, they gain a crude impression of the cave walls. As it approaches the wall, the bat clicks at a faster rate to gain more information. Although relying totally on sound, the bat must process this information to form an image. The sound picture is coarse, as sound reflections pick up less detail than light. To improve the picture, it would need to use higher ultrasonic frequencies. As it leaves the cave, vision takes over again. To find a system that rivals vision, we need to look at the fruit bat's insect-eating relatives. The European pipistrelle improves its sound picture by using the higher frequencies of ultrasound. For us to hear these calls, we need to slow them down. Each ultrasonic pulse sweeps the frequency range. The complex call creates a more detailed picture than the one from the simple low-frequency click of the fruit bat. As they near their prey, they too speed up the pulse rate. The dolphin has developed the ultimate sound imaging system. Instead of using frequency chirps like bats, the dolphin and other toothed whales produce a stream of intense sharp clicks. They use them for both navigation and hunting. The sounds are focused into a beam by the dome-like forehead known as the melon. The lower jaw acts as a directional ear, picking up the returning echoes. Focused into a beam, up to 1,000 pulses per second are directed at the fish. As the lower jaw picks up the echoes, it gathers information about size, speed, and even body structure. Ultrasound penetrates like an X-ray, revealing even the swim bladder. The dolphin may have even more startling powers. Like this animal. The pistol shrimp's claw is a unique sound weapon. It uses these clicks to stun. The sounds are produced in the hinge of its claw as it snaps shut and can be heard over a kilometer away. The effects at close range can be devastating. Repeated blasts literally knock its prey senseless. It is believed that dolphins too may possess this power. As they near a fish, they can increase the sound bursts. The effect is stunning. On our next journey, Supersense explores the world of smell.